Hey there, everyone. It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to Instinct Culture. I am very happy to introduce to you my guest for today because she is Impact Wrestling's very own backstage correspondent. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gia Miller. Hey, Gia.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I feel like it's been a long time coming. I'm like, I finally got Gia here on the show. You've been killing it on Impact Wrestling, man. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Before we get started with all of the nitty gritty details about talking about everything Impact Wrestling, I want to ask you how you're doing today so far. How's your day?
Man, it's been a great day. We're doing some media today. I actually gave an interview earlier today with someone that I'm so excited about. So it's a great day. It's a great day.
I love it. Isn't like media day like fun? It challenges you. You never know what people are going to ask you. You're like, I'm trying to
Yeah.
get ready, trying to make sure I know what to say and all of that. How do you like it so far?
Oh, I love it. I love getting to talk to just people I've never met before. Like I've been looking forward to talking to you once I saw your name pop up. I was like, "Oh, Denise, I know her." Okay, I couldn't wait to talk to you. And it's also so interesting because, like you said, I'm the backstage correspondent. So normally I'm giving the interviews, not getting interviewed. So I like, believe it or not, I do like to talk about myself.
You're like, finally, I get the opportunity to say what I want to say. Cause, normally it's about the other person, but
Yeah,
finally, as the interviewer, you get to let people know who you are and what you're all about.
right.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and kind of get started because Gia, the first time that I got to really get to know you was obviously as a backstage correspondent for Impact Wrestling. So I want to start off by asking you, how did you get involved in this crazy world of pro wrestling? How did it all get started for you?
Man, I have just loved it for my entire life. I grew up watching it and I grew up as a performer and an athlete. So it was always something that just appealed to me, but it was never something that I thought I could do. I never thought that my body would be able to handle it or that my mind would be able to handle it. And as I got older, I was like, you know what? No, I can. I totally can do this. So I started getting after it and I had no idea how to get started, but I found a trainer in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is not where I'm from. So I had to go quite a far ways away to get to it. But I started training with George South when I was 21, so 2019. And then after I trained with him and Caleb Conley, I moved back down to Alabama to finish university. And he hooked me up with Mike Jackson. He's 72 years old. He's wrestled for Impact before. And that one time he wrestled before, he took me with him. He was like, "Hey, girl, you come with me." I was going to go anyway, but I was dating one of the wrestlers, so I didn't want to be weird about being in the back. So I was like, "Oh, I'll just get a ticket and watch outside." But he was like, "No, no, no, you're my tag partner. You go with me." And I said, "Okay." So I went, and it was like one of those things, right place, right time. I met Madison Rain, and we had a great conversation. And she was like, "Have you ever thought about being an interviewer?" And I said, "Funnily enough, I have a degree in journalism and broadcasting. So I'd love to. I've never done it for pro wrestling, but hey, let's give it a shot." And I got my foot in the door that day. Then when COVID happens, I was just so happened to be stranded with Sammy, Jess, and Ace. And they were talking about doing the closed set tapings. And they said, "Bring her with you." And that was it. End of story.
So, you mentioned first that you weren't sure whether or not pro wrestling would be for you, and you started training as a pro wrestler, but then this opportunity came about to be a backstage correspondent. So, were you kind of hesitant of thinking, okay, well, you know what? I was focusing more on actually doing the physical portion of wrestling. So, was it hard for you to be like, okay, I'm going to step away from focusing on this to take on an entirely different role?
Oh, yeah. And I think that's the beauty of working for Impact. I get to do both. So I still get to wrestle on the indies when I want. And I also still get to interview and really just do all sorts of projects, whatever my heart desires. But I was always told the worst thing you can say is no. Never say no. If someone, even if it's maybe not the job you wanted, but that's the thing is I wanted to be an interviewer. I just thought it was going to be way later on in my career. I thought it was going to be after the fact. So I was super happy to be able to get involved with wrestling as an interviewer because my wrestling, I wasn't there's no way I could have competed on that level at that point. I had had 10 matches, but I was getting to learn so much, and I still get to. I feel like I'm growing up in wrestling, and I get to learn from these incredible minds like Gail Kim. I get to just talk to her whenever I go to work, which is so cool. Jessica Havoc. I mean, Madison Rain was one. Mia Yim. So many people that I get to be around and learn from and create friendships with that I wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. If I would have said, "Oh no, thank you. I just want to be a wrestler. I don't want to be an interviewer, but thanks." Where would I be right now? Who knows?
Exactly. And that is such good advice too, because you hear that all the time. Like, say yes to everything. I mean, unless it's something really terrible, then don't say
Oh yeah,
yes.
sure, sure,
Right.
sure.
Of course.
Have
Right.
boundaries. Set your boundaries.
You're like, there's got to be a line somewhere. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Draw the line.
no, is this interesting thing because you could have easily said no. And then all of a sudden you're not surrounded by people like Madison Rain earlier on, as you mentioned, a Gail Kim, and we talk about, how stacked that women's division on Impact Wrestling is. So you kind of have all of this, you have this system where you can go and be like, hey, this is what I'm working on. How can you help me out? Let's get some advice going, all of that. And it's interesting too, because you get to, once you feel you're at that level to compete as a wrestler at that level for Impact Wrestling, you already have your foot in the door. They already know who Gia Miller is. So, with that being said, is there a timeline that you're looking at to maybe go from not just wrestling on the indies to possibly wrestling on Impact?
Well, I've had two opportunities with Impact to wrestle, and that was for our Throwback Throwdown shows, which will be returning at WrestleCade. So look out for Rusty Iron; she might be making a return. But I got to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo and then Jordan Grace, two knockouts champions. Oh my gosh! It so awesome to be
You
able to
started at
learn
the
from
top.
them. Yeah, literally. It was so cool. And because of the circumstances in which these matches were happening, they got to be like fun, competitive matches. Egos weren't involved. It was just a great way to learn and have fun. And one was at WrestleCon and one was in Louisville, Kentucky, which we will be back in Louisville, Kentucky, November 18th and 19th. So make sure you're there for that. Uh, one of those was there. So I was familiar with the area. I had wrestled in that ring before, and it was great. It was so low stress. And then I got to get good feedback from my peers and my higher ups, and it was really awesome.
That's really cool. And where do you feel your passion lies? Do you feel like you're a little bit split where you're like, I love doing this backstage interview stuff? Or do you feel your passion lies more with the actual physical portion of it?
It's so hard because especially being so young, and I really do have a lot of injuries already for being so young. I have to kind of weigh my options. But something that I've really fallen in love with in the past year has been managing. I absolutely love it because it still incorporates that physical aspect, but my strong suit is the speaking. My strong suit is the personality. And I get to do both when I'm managing. I get to go through a table at the end and wear a cute outfit while I do it. That's what I love. So I've really fallen in love with that. And so that's something I'm trying to get better at. So hopefully maybe that will be on the horizon for me.
It's a little bit of the best of both worlds. You get to
Yeah,
do the
right.
character stuff. If you want to get a little physical, you can get a little physical. I like
Exactly.
that. No, that's really good for you, I think, too. But I do want to go and talk about the backstage interviewer stuff because that's
Mhm.
the primarily what we've been able to see you as in Impact. With that being said, how did you feel the road challenged you, especially because you dove right in? It was like lights, camera, action, go. How did you feel like the when you first started doing it and to where you are now? Because I feel like just from watching you, I feel like I've seen this massive amount of growth in you, and it's been really cool to see that.
Well, thank you so much. It was absolutely terrifying that first time. I was like, oh my gosh, like I have faith in myself, and I knew that I had a degree and like had some training, but it's very different from pro wrestling. Interviewing is very different from regular broadcast journalism. I was like, I don't really know what they expect out of me, and they didn't really know what to expect from me because I went into this really without a tryout. My tryout was filming 6 weeks of TV and seeing if it worked. And so I had all of our producers there and our writers there, like to kind of make sure that I was doing a good enough job. And they were like, okay, she can form a sentence. We can kind of trust her. And so I slowly I got more and more responsibility, and it's really challenged me. Josh Matthews has honestly been such a great coach. Getting to do BTI with him has really, really helped me grow as a personality, as a host, as an interviewer. He will take what I say and give me notes and say, "Hey, you use this as a crutch phrase. Let's try to not say that. Let's try and make you better." And I so feel like I agree with you. There's been a transformation. I went back and watched one of my very first interviews the first time, and even just the tone
Was it
in my
cringe for
voice.
you?
Yeah, I was like, "Welcome to Impact Wrestling. I'm Gia Miller," and now I'm like over here dancing, breaking it down on BTI. It's so crazy how much it's evolved in really a short amount of time.
I've been there. I know exactly what you mean when you go back and even watch stuff from, I don't know, like it's 6 months ago, a year ago, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I sounded like that. I did that with my I said those words. What's wrong
Uh-huh.
with me?" But it is good because I mean, obviously you're doing this consistently, so you're only gonna it's like everything that you do in life. You're only gonna keep growing and keep
Right.
doing much more. Before we get into our lightning round portion of things, I do want to ask you, Gia, kind of like looking back at your time that you've been able to do all of these interviews, do you have any favorite moments or any things that like really stood out to you where like you're like, yes, that was it for me?
Oh my gosh. I've been able to meet so many awesome people, and particularly women in the business. I mean, getting to work with Jazz was incredible. Getting to work with ODB, Taylor Wilde. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but there is one, and it's been gift or gift. I never say it right. Uh,
I don't know either, so I can't even correct you.
of I was doing an interview with ODB, and she walks in, and the first thing she does is full wind up slap me on the butt. And oh my word, my right butt cheek was numb for like 30 minutes. It was something. But it was one of, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I just got spanked by ODB. That's the coolest thing ever.
You're like, I don't even have to fake a reaction. It's
I
there.
know. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I think that's a really good moment. Awesome. Before we wrap things up, I do want to go ahead and get into that lightning round portion.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you 10 random questions and you just answer them however you please. So here we go. Question number one. If you weren't in wrestling, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, musical theater.
Ooh, are you a big musical theater fan?
I was a theater major in college.
Let me guess. You switched. Did you end up like actually
I did both.
doing it? Oh, you did both. Oh, that's so
Mhm.
great.
Yeah.
Usually you see a lot of theater people that switch into communication, so it's like either or.
Yep. Yep.
That's awesome. Question number two. Who are your top three favorite artists?
Ooh. Uh Eagles, favorite band, Panic at the Disco, and Taylor Swift.
Yes, girl.
Mhm.
Completely love the picks. Question number three. What was your favorite subject in school?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I loved them all. I loved history. I like stories, so I loved history.
Question number four. Describe the perfect date.
Ooh, perfect date has to be a shopping trip. I love things. My love language is gifts. I love going on a shopping trip.
Question number five. What's the last TV show or movie that you watched?
Probably SpongeBob. I watch SpongeBob every single morning. It's my absolute favorite show. It's my comfort show.
You can never go wrong with a good SpongeBob episode.
Classic.
Question number six. Do you own any pets?
Yes, my sweet angel baby, Selena. She's a little black, fluffy cat. She's named after Catwoman, and she is the best.
Question number seven. Favorite place to shop?
Oh, uh, TJ Maxx.
Really, TJ Maxx? Oh, that's so scary. That's
Oh
so
yeah.
random.
I love a bargain, baby.
Question number eight. Favorite appetizer and favorite dessert?
Spinach and artichoke dip, 100%, and creme brulee.
Oh my God, I'm so with you on both of those. Addicting on both sides. Question number nine. Your dream vacation?
Ooh, I went on a cruise this past year, and Oh my gosh, fell in love. I would love to go on either a Mediterranean cruise or a Hawaiian cruise.
Oh, that would be really nice. And last question, question number 10. What's something people don't know about you?
Um, my fun fact is that I'm double jointed in just about every joint on my body. From just sitting right here, I'll show you this one. I can
Oh,
do a full
oh.
rotation. Oh,
I
yeah,
was wait, how
yeah,
is she doing that?
yeah. I'm double jointed in my shoulders, my wrists, my elbows, my hips, my knees, and my ankles.
Oh my God. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I
little
love
fun
that.
fact.
Okay, that's great. Gia, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Honestly, I had a great time. I feel like I learned so much about you. I loved it. Before we wrap things up, please let the people know where they can follow you, where they can watch you, all of that good stuff.
Oh yeah, you can watch me on Impact Wrestling and on BTI every Thursday night on Access TV. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok now too. Mean Gia Miller, all one word, no spaces, no nothing. And I typically respond. So like tweet me, message me, let's hang out.
Well, guys, I'm going to post all of the links to that in the description box below so you guys can go give Gia some love. Other than that, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. This is Gia Miller, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.